Today we're swapping sitting for standing. We're swapping one mid-drive motor for two hub motors. We're swapping 28,000 watts that I normally ride to 2,000 watts. That's because Ausom have sent over their L2 Max dual motor electric scooter for review. Let's get this box open. The Ausom L2 Dual Max is now out the box and nearly ready to rip. We have got a full battery on this scooter, and upon first impressions, this thing is stylish. It's got a real aggressive look to it, which is going to appeal to a lot of people. So this scooter does come along with some lock-in hand grips. They lock on the end of the bars to stop them from twisting, and they do have palm rests for a little bit of added comfortability. On the left-hand side of the handlebars is where you will find some controls. We have indicators left and right. There is an electric horn button, and there is the dual drive mode. This button will switch between single motor and dual motor. Towards the center of the scooter is where we will find our display. This is going to tell us all the information we need to know while riding. Then for some thumb controls, we have a power button, a plus and a minus button with a few other features on there too, such as the headlights. And of course, up on the handlebars, we have our left and right brake levers. Up here on the front of the scooter, you will see the two NFC card keys that this scooter comes with. So it is NFC locked. There is an option to have a pass key on this scooter as well, so you can either do it by password or NFC. Just behind the screen on the handlebars, there is actually a hook. For a start, I was confused as to what this hook does, but when the scooter is folded down, the hook hooks onto the back of the scooter, which means we could pull on the handlebars and it will not unfold on us. For the handlebars, they are fixed at a certain height, so they cannot be moved up or down. They are solid as they are, and this is a folding scooter as we've seen, so it has got the folding mechanism at the bottom, which is really simple to use. Down towards the front of the scooter is where we will find the headlight, and of course it is matched at the back with a rear tail light. The rear tail light also has a brake light built in, which is mega handy on these vehicles. The headlight can also be turned on and off by the button on the handlebars. With this being a dual drive scooter, that does mean we have a hub motor in the front and a hub motor in the rear. These hub motors have a 1000 watt rating, which means this is a 2000 watt scooter, but it actually has a peak power of around 2800 watt. Also on the front and the rear is where we will find our disc brakes, but these are mechanical brakes, meaning they are a cable, they are not hydraulic brakes. As well as a dual motor scooter and a dual disc brake scooter, this scooter has dual suspension front and back, going to soak up all the lumps, bumps and anything that we come across while riding the scooter on the trails. To pair up with the dual 1000 watt motors on this scooter, we've got a 48 volt 20.8 amp hour battery. This battery should give us a maximum range in the lowest power mode of around 55 miles, which is advertised on the website, but I doubt we'll expect to see that sort of mileage when riding in sport or any higher modes on this scooter. The L2 Max has a really slow charge time with the charger included with the scooter. That's because it's a really low amperage charger, but it does give you the option to actually have dual charging modes on this scooter, so you can double up on the chargers, which should halve the charge time. Now it's time for the fun bit. We can get on this L2 Max dual motor scooter by Ausom and give this thing a rip. It is probably worth mentioning that these things are not legal here in the UK. You do need to be riding these on private land. Any scooter that is privately owned is non-legal. This is due to the UK's ridiculous laws and regulations. Unless it's a council or government owned scooter, it is illegal. That's why I have come to this private lane on a private farm, and I do know the farmer. So straight up, we are in eco mode. We are flat out on the throttle, on the trigger finger throttle. We're in single motor mode. Obviously the scooter does have two motors, and you can switch between rear motor or both front and rear motor. I don't think you can do front on its own. I think you can only do rear on its own. And we're going to bump up now into the second power mode, which is actually sport. Still in single motor. Looks like we're getting up to 21 mile an hour. The dual suspension is coming in mega handy on this little rocky track, and at the minute we are just cruising. Let's go straight up into race mode. Race is going to be the highest mode. Obviously not going to be full power mode with just the single motor. We do need both motors to be going full power mode. So at the minute we should be running roughly 1000 watts. Usually you wouldn't look at an electric scooter as an off-road vehicle, but with this being a dual suspension scooter, it's going to make all the difference. And now we're going to have to fully test this headlight and see how it performs in the dark tunnel. So we do have the headlight on, and we're gonna see how we can cope going through the pitch black tunnel. I mean, the headlight is actually doing really well. It's actually really smooth floor in here too. It's even smoother than what I was just riding on. This is where we can see the lights on the deck glowing as well, which looks really cool. We do have the tail light behind us as well with a rear brake light, and this is going to be the only bit of light we get for the whole tunnel until the end. Oh my god, this is so sketch. I genuinely cannot see where I'm going. All it's going to take is one dip and I'm over these handlebars, and just like that we are back out into the open. And with being back out into the open, I think we should go into dual motor mode. So the DDM button on the side there, that will put us in dual mode. I'm going to go back down to eco to see how we handle with both motors just in eco mode, and already she is cooking quite well, getting up to about 20 mile an hour, 18 mile an hour. So on the display we are getting mile an hour readings, not kilometers an hour. We've got an odometer at the top. We've got two wheels showing us that we're in a dual drive motor. Little headlight button to show that we've got the headlight on. In fact, I'm going to turn the headlight off to save some juice. Again, eco, very tame, very handleable, just what you'd expect on a scooter like this. We know this thing's got way more power than just an eco mode though, so we're now going to go into sport. Oh, this is where this thing starts ripping. This is where it gets fun. We're getting up to 25 mph. We are sharing the lane with somebody else, so I'm going to try and keep it tame for now. But there is a bit of juice in that dual motor mode. Oh, handling the bumps quite well. If I didn't have suspension on a scooter like this, I would not want to be riding it down any sort of track. Even just the little rocky areas on this is bad enough. But again, because this has got dual suspension, it's actually making for a lovely smooth ride. The tyres that we're using on this, I believe they're 10-inch tyres. I may be wrong in that, but they are almost all-terrain tyres as well. Yes, we're getting some air on that. They are a little bit of road tyre with a little bit of tread, so hopefully we're not going to go sliding on my ass in some of this wet and slippy mud today, but we're going to hold on as best we can, and so far they seem to be holding up well. On a scooter it's just about taking your time, no sharp movements. Now we get into the sunnier part of the trail. Let's boost the mood by boosting the power. Race mode, full power mode now, flat out on the throttle. It looks like we're going to get to 30 easy. Let's see if we can get to top speed down here. The top speed of this scooter is, I think, advertised as 42 mile an hour. We're getting up to 38 already. We are flying. 39, okay. I'm gonna have to start chilling out. This scooter's got plenty of power for a 48 volt scooter too. Let's see if we can hit this little jump. Yo, that was actually so comfortable. What the hell? I'm enjoying this way more than I thought I would. I'm not even gassing. This is actually way more fun than I expected. So we've got the speedometer open here. It should record maximum speed in miles an hour. As soon as I slide to start, that is now active. It's going in the pocket, screen facing out so don't press any buttons. We're in race mode, full power mode, dual motor mode, slightly downhill so we can get as best we possibly can. You got to push to start this scooter too, so we're going to get a running push and we're off. You can turn that feature off on this scooter too. You can go in the settings and turn the push start off, but already we're at 35, we're at 38, getting near 40. We have got a corner, so I'm going to have to brake slightly. But we're back on the throttle, full speed. I mean, we were nearly at 40, which is already the top speed in my eyes. We're getting 40, 41, 42. It looks like we got to the top speed on the display. Whether we got that on the GPS or not, different story. Let's pull up and check. Good job these private roads have pulling spots, really. Okay, so it looks like we got a maximum speed of 37 mile an hour on the GPS. So 5 mile an hour off the 42, which again, still isn't bad for this sort of scooter. For a lower voltage scooter, it's technically on the cheaper side. This is a budget, cheap scooter in my eyes. 37, 38 mile an hour is really not too bad at all. So something else that, upon first impressions, I wasn't too sure about on this scooter was actually the cable mechanical brake. Although I was skeptical, I feel like these mechanical brakes are actually going to be just all right for this scooter for the power and the speed you're going to get. So if I carefully hit the brakes now, rear brake and front, we are on gravel, so it wasn't a direct stop, but it slowed down and stopped pretty quickly, and I must have been doing, I don't know, 25, 30 mile an hour. If we were on proper roads that wasn't so slippy with all the grit on it, that stopping time would be a lot quicker and a lot easier. And I also need to mention that on this scooter there is something called EABS, I believe. Now, I think EABS is like regen braking, and I believe that happens when you pull the levers halfway in, but that is something that you can also change the settings of in this scooter. I haven't actually been in the settings of this scooter. I've left it exactly how it came out of the box. I wanted to feel how it felt before doing any adjustments, before changing anything, and to be honest, I'm happy. There's no reason that you need to change any of the things on this scooter. Even the push to start, it still doesn't bother me. We are absolutely flat out. Looks like that battery life is starting to go down a bit too. So in terms of battery life on this scooter, with it being a 48 volt 20.8 amp hour battery, it is definitely not the biggest of batteries. In fact, we're going to bump it down back into eco mode, still dual motor, but we're just going to go on a cruise now. So rather than a battery percentage on the display, we have got a battery bar. There's 5 bars, so I would then presume that each bar represents about 20% of the battery. Already I've done 5 miles according to the odometer, and we have used 1 bar of battery. A lot of that has been in the full power mode, a lot of it has been in sport mode, race mode, in dual motor or not. So again, I have been ripping this thing. When they advertise the miles and the distance on these scooters, it is always the maximum distance in the lowest power mode. So for example, if we went back down to single motor mode in eco and I went flat out, I think we'll get maybe 15 mile an hour, 16 mile an hour. Okay, slowly climbing to 17, but this is where you will get the 55 miles maximum range out of this scooter. Of course, we're going to have to see what sort of range we are left with at the end of this ride. I'm not trying to get the maximum range either. I want to see truly what this scooter can do. So now we've talked about battery, let's go back up to race. Full power mode, flat out. I think this scooter might even be able to wheelie as well. I don't want to go and test it out while I'm flying at 32 mile an hour, but I think it might. So when I'm holding the trigger flat out in race mode, that is where we're seeing the battery level drop. We're actually gone down 2 bars of battery. If I let off, we go back up to the 4 bars of battery, so we should have roughly 80% left, I believe, on this battery. But we should have plenty of range for plenty of fun still today. Okay, I'm letting my intrusive thoughts win. I'm going to bump it to single motor mode or in race mode. Can we get this scooter to wheelie? It's only one way to find out. Ready on the back brake, always ready on the back brake. Let's do it. Oh my god, okay, nah, this is a wheelie scooter. You do have to go down to a slower speed, but you can wheelie this thing. It's wheelieable. Okay, let's do it, both feet on, see if we can do a real wheelie, not a cheating wheelie. Okay, so it will do it. It's just about keeping that throttle and brake balance and being brave enough to lean back properly, but I think this will wheelie. I think it will. We're getting small ones. I'll class that as a wheelie scooter. It means it's got the throttle control. That was full power mode. So in terms of price, this Ausom L2 Dual Max scooter is coming in at a price of roughly £800. I will put the exact price on the screen. But for £800, that is a banging price. You don't get anything that is electric, looks this cool and moves this fast with 2 motors on it, built to the quality of this scooter that it actually is for less than £800. I think any scooter that I've seen that is worth buying is usually over £1,500. I do see a lot of the cheaper ones, but you can just tell looking at them, they're not going to be good, they're not going to be fast, they're probably going to be boring, they're probably going to break. This Ausom L2 Dual Max, instantly when I took it out of the box, I could see it was built with quality. I have seen other scooters and sort of know quality when I see it, and I was really impressed with this scooter for the price point. Obviously there must be somewhere that Ausom are saving money when building this scooter, and I would say that they're saving money in places like the battery charger, the brakes, even the battery itself. They could have gone for a bigger battery and cost the customer more money, but they're trying to keep it more budget, they're trying to keep it price friendly, and for what it is, for what it's worth, this battery handles it just fine. So it seems to me like Ausom have tried to meet in the middle with this scooter. They've tried to make it look appealing to an aggressive, fast, fun audience. They've tried to make it look futuristic. They've tried to make it look a really good product, as well as keeping it affordable and practical. Everything is working as it should to the best of the ability that I'd want it to right now. It really doesn't need anything more in my eyes. taking a look at the display and the handlebar buttons, obviously we've got the accelerator on the right here, we've got a power button at the top, we've got the plus and the minus button. If we press and hold the top button, that will be the light button. I believe if we press and hold the bottom minus button, that will be a walk mode. But here on the left hand side, we've got a couple more controls. Like mentioned, we've got the dual drive motor mode, however you want to say it. That just switches between single and double motor. But we also have the indicators here on the left, which is activated by this toggle button, which we can go left and right. We can see then on the display that we've got the right indicator on, and if we come round to the right hand side of the scooter, you will see that the indicator is on the side, which is kind of strange to me because you'd think that people would want to see coming from behind which way you're signaling. And if we come behind, somewhat noticeable, you can just about see the angle of the indicator or the signal on the side of it, but it is mostly noticeable when you come round to this side of the scooter. And again, we've got the left one, the same thing, really visible there on the side, but as soon as we come round to the back, you can see that it's not as visible at all. And then we also have an electronic horn, which I've not tested out yet, so let's press that and see what the horn is like. Oh god, that's disturbing. One of the last things I have noticed about this scooter is there is no protective anything on the deck. It is just pure painted surface with the LEDs, which looks awesome, but I am noticing that as I'm riding, it's starting to get marked, it's starting to get a bit scratched, which after 10 rides it's going to look awful. They did put a rubber mat here on the back of the scooter, but it's not anywhere else. So I guess what you could do is cut up some grip tape. You could cut it in between the LEDs, which would look pretty sick, and that would avoid all of the paintwork getting scratched, but it's pretty hard to avoid it, and unless there's a rubber mat made for it or something, it's going to be really slippy when it's wet, and it's just not ideal to be stood on and marking and scratching the deck. So to sum it up, the L2 Max dual motor electric scooter made by Ausom is actually pretty freaking awesome. I think we finished this ride on 18 miles with 2 bars of battery flashing left, so roughly around 40%. That was a lot of fast speeds, top speeds flat out on the throttle, so we were ripping this scooter pretty hard. Realistically, the only things that should be illegal about these in the UK is the price. Ausom have made the perfect mix between affordability yet quality electric vehicle, and if you do have the appropriate private land, I really recommend taking a look at the L2 Max by Ausom. With that being said, we're nearly at 10,000 subscribers, so if you're new here and you've liked this sort of content, make sure you're smashing that subscribe button. It'll be a huge help to the channel. While you're down there, hit that like button, leave a comment on what you thought about this electric scooter down below. I appreciate you watching. Till the next one, I'm Matt Francis signing out. Peace.